Tom Curran covering the Patriots for Comcast Sportsnet New England. He was in Carolina last night. Your reaction to what you saw, Tommy?
Well, that's bizarre. That was a really bizarre outcome because, I look at those plays on which a flag gets picked up, Dan, and I say to myself, you almost have to have the same level of scrutiny that you do on a challenge. It has to be beyond reproach, beyond, visible evidence that everybody can confirm that you pick it up. And that's okay if you can do that, but when the statement from Old Cleat is that the ball was at the front of the end zone when it wasn't, and that the contact was simultaneous to the ball arriving in the general vicinity, which it wasn't, it really calls into question just whether or not they got it right. Beyond that goes the fact, Dan, of absolutely no explanation given to a game that half the freaking country stays up to watch, and then, okay, it's over with.
What was it like in the locker room? I saw the press conference stuff with Belichick. That was awkward, but the
a little bit.
it's always awkward in there. But the team itself, their reaction to this.
I walked up to Tom Brady afterwards, having known that he was lambasting Cleat and company on the way off the field, and I said, "What did they tell you?" And he said, from his vantage point, all he knew was a flag was picked up. He said, "Was it a penalty?" Yeah, it's kind of a penalty. You're not going to be too happy when you see it. And it was interesting. It was not slamming his helmet or throwing his loofah sponge across the locker room. It was kind of a shrug, and moving on really quickly. I think the Patriots themselves, Brady in particular, another player, Matt Slater, they're pissed about it. But I think that they look toward the situation overall and say the way we played is indicative of the way we will be. I think, for all the conversation we're going to have about it today, Dan, they're going to move forward pretty quickly to Denver.
Well, they have to. And the question, is there a bigger picture here? They got manhandled last night. Controversial finish or not, Carolina, I thought, was the better team last night from start to finish. But now you go home, and now Denver's coming to town with this defense or, all those starters out. What do you expect to happen on Sunday night?
I think it's interesting because they don't agree. And when I said that to Brady, mentioned to him, how I said, they look pretty good. And, he didn't dispel that. He said, we went up and down the field on them. He said, our first drive, we had a sack on a 3-man rush. The second drive, we had a fumble. And the third drive, we had a penalty that took us out of field goal position. So they are not of a mind that they got necessarily pummeled offensively. It was defensively they couldn't get off the field. And the reason they couldn't get off the field in many cases was Cam Newton. I think they'll go into this game thinking to themselves, well, at least we'll know where Peyton Manning is throughout the extent of the play. And I think that they're going to be fairly confident going into that game.
Before I let you go, are the Patriots a legitimate Super Bowl contender?
I think so because, we saw last night at one point Brady was 26-29. As they go down the road here, I think that offense is going to continue to get better. So, defensively they're going to hold on, barely. They're going to they'll go as far as the offense can take them now because defensively they're in disrepair, Daniel.
Yep. Hey, I know you got to catch a flight, Tom. Safe travels, buddy.
All
right.
Thank you, my friend.
Tom Curran, Comcast Sportsnet New England.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.